So we've got the McLaren Elva today for 1 hour. It's a real smash and grab event today. Only with the car for an hour, we've got to produce the full YouTube video, Instagram content, TikTok, you name it. So we have the full team together. We're picking up Mitch now, who's over at my office, who's our great videographer. You'll have seen his work in the Mini Cooper video we recently did, and then picking up Alex, the photographer, who's going to be behind the scenes taking photos of the day. And my job's just to kind of stand there and talk, so pander to the camera, but really show off the car as much as we can. Are you in?
Yeah. Question. Why am I the tallest person sitting in the back?
Because it's funny.
Yeah.
Well, this week we should have had the Australian Grand Prix, but for obvious reasons, that's been cancelled. Somebody forgot to tell McLaren though, because take a look at the show car they've sent across. It's called the McLaren Elva. There are only 149 in the world, and it's unlike any modern motor car I've ever seen. If anything, it arcs back more to 1950s and 60s Formula One race cars. Now, I have to start with the price. I can't wrap my head around some of these numbers. The price in the UK is £1.8 million. There's no Australian price that's been formally announced, but if you do the math and consider duties and taxes and luxury car tax in particular, on road in Australia, the taxes alone will pay for a new McLaren Artura. Think about that. And for the money, you don't even get a real windscreen. Instead, you get what's called an active air management system. This thing here is your windscreen. The air will flow from underneath the front lip and blow its way over the cabin to create something of a bubble where you can even talk to a passenger at speed. That's one clever way to save on glass. The first thing I really want to take a look at are these air intakes through the door. Looking at the photos, I didn't even see that these existed, but it has that kind of double-skinned door like we've seen on the 720 right here. It will channel the airflow through the door, through the skeleton of the car, and into the radiators at the side. Even the front lip and the nose is also channeling air through the side of the car to the radiators. The way this car is managing the airflow is really quite extraordinary, particularly because you can't see any big aerodynamic features on the vehicle. There's no official weight, but it's the lightest car McLaren has ever produced, and it does 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds. Bearing in mind this is a pure rear-wheel drive car, that's an extraordinary performance figure for something that's this light without any real weight on the car. The canopy here, when it opens up, contains enough storage to put your racing helmet. And towards the back, there are a lot of signals of the new McLaren Artura. That's the strange thing about the Elva, and I didn't really pay attention to it at the time. It's like we've been given a concept of the new Artura and McLaren's design language, both inside and out, for the next few years in the Elva. Towards the back of the car are these exhausts, all 4 of them. We've got 2 that are facing up and 2 that are facing out, that have been tuned to give slightly different exhaust notes. It's quite a unique sounding car for a V8 turbo. McLaren internally are calling this sound Nirvana, something that's quite special and unheard before because of the 2 different tones of the exhaust. And once again, we're seeing all of the design language for the rear of the car that we've now become used to with the Artura. I think McLaren is getting good at designing the rears of vehicles. Cars like the 570 didn't quite nail it, but the design language is getting there. And once again, if you look through the rear wheelers there, you see that little skeleton, that air channel that can blow air up through the rear. This has an active rear despoiler as well, and an air brake. Again, it's amazing how sleek and clean and simple the car looks and how many aerodynamic features they've managed to stick in. This diffuser, my God. Just imagine driving behind one of these things and seeing all of its gubbins. I love it. I absolutely love it. Let's have a look inside the car now. It's not that graceful to get into, but we'll edit this bit out. So, the interior of the Elva. What's quite interesting again is that it's very much like the Artura. I've become used to seeing this dash architecture, this binnacle with all the controls, and the steering wheel will move in and out all in one module, which means as well when you get out of the car, the steering wheel and the dash can move away from you for easy ingress and egress. The driving controls, the active module where you usually have the sport and track mode here on the dash, is also up on the steering wheel. You've got your handling and your drivetrain on the left and the right, so you can go from changing gears to adjusting the driving modes of the car. It's fantastic to see. It's the design language of McLaren that we've become used to. No buttons on the steering wheel and everything that you need to drive at your fingertips. And it really speaks to the driving focus of the car. Things like the lack of windscreen, the lightweight vehicle, the performance of the Elva. It's all about driving. It's not about lap times, it's about driver enjoyment and the experience behind the wheel. These seats as well, this is something that never really crossed my mind. When you're building a car without a roof, you have to waterproof every part of the cabin. So these aren't the center seats, these are a new type of seat for the Elva. And it's also a new type of fabric that is water repellent. This heads-up unit, this screen, and the driver console all have to be waterproof as well, so that if you're racing or driving on a rainy day, it doesn't damage the electrics of the car. This screen in the middle, if anything, it's more like a big Apple Watch. You've got this crown on the side that you can rotate and press to control the screen in case it's too wet to use your fingers. I wonder where they got that idea from. But otherwise, it's remarkably simple. It doesn't feel like I'm surrounded by buttons and screens. Everything's kind of where you expect it to be, and everything is within reach of the driver. It's such a brilliant driver-focused cabin with storage. Someplace in the middle here for your wallet or whatever, and little cubby holes on the side for your gloves, I guess. It's remarkably quite practical for a 1.8 million pound racing car without a roof. The McLaren Elva came into the market at quite an unusual time when we were hit with this onslaught of unobtainable, roofless performance cars like this and the Ferrari SP Monza. And when it came out in the press, I didn't pay that much attention to it. I felt that it was something that I'd never see, let alone sit in, and even fewer people will own and drive one. But spending some time with the Elva, I have to agree, this is one of the most extraordinary driver machines ever to be produced. So which would you have? Let us know in the comments below. Would you have the Elva or the Monza? I think in this Gulf livery, for me, it'd have to be the McLaren.